meet our writers, Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach. They're romantic and creative partners since the early 2010s. Got married in 2023, right before Barbie came out. And Barbie is their third screenplay together, but they've been on many, many projects together, different combinations of writer, director, actor, both known for heartfelt characters with sharp dialogue and deep themes. And so they're a great team, one of the best teams in Hollywood. And let's start with Noah Baumbach. 55 years old, from New York. His father was a novelist. His mother was a film critic. He has 3 children, 2 with Greta Gerwig. He has an English degree from Vassar. At 25 years old, he wrote his first feature screenplay. It was called Kicking and Screaming. It was a semi-autobiographical comedy about being aimless after college. Many of us know what that's like. He got the script to a friend who got it to another friend who got it to a producer named Joel Castleberg. That producer had connections at Trimark. Trimark read it. They liked it, and it was at the time where there was a lot of these small budget indie films being made about this sort of subject, and so they were like, let's do it. They greenlit it, and then, get this, they allowed him to direct it. A guy with no experience in the film business at all is now directing this project that he wrote, a true life-changing event. It made back its $1 million budget, and it gained high praise from the critics, and so now he's a known quantity in this small circle of Hollywood. And over the years, this movie has grown and grown and grown. It has one of these cult statuses. If you don't know about it, might want to check it out. And that opened the door for Baumbach, which led to other projects. He went on to write 2 more movies that didn't do as well. And that led him to what he called a creative dark period. During that time of about 7 years, he was working mostly as a script doctor, working on other people's projects. He wrote a few TV pilots that didn't go anywhere. Then he was dealing with another personal tragedy, which gave him an idea. The great stories come from these things that happen to us as writers and have to get out. This was his parents divorcing and him being a young adult and not knowing how to handle that. And so he wrote the screenplay, The Squid and the Whale. This starred Jeff Daniels, and this was Jesse Eisenberg's breakout role. He was just a kid in this movie. And Noah Baumbach was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay for this film. And so he's back on the horse. He won awards at Sundance and at Gotham. It made over 7 times its production budget, so a huge success, this movie. That led to his 2007 film, Margot at the Wedding, starring Nicole Kidman. And then in 2009, he was directing his next screenplay called Greenberg, and he was impressed with an actor who was making a huge splash on the mumblecore indie scene. I'll explain what that is in a minute. And that was Greta Gerwig. And she was cast as the female opposite of Ben Stiller in this movie, which was a success. And they began a personal relationship and then have gone on to do 4 more films together in some combination. And their careers together have been a huge success, but they also do their own projects individually, and those are also huge successes, including his 2019 film, Marriage Story, starring Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. For that, he received another Oscar nomination for Best Original Screenplay. So 2 powerhouses. Individually, they are mighty. Together, they are pretty much unstoppable. Let's meet Greta Gerwig. She's 41 years old, from Sacramento, California. Her mom's a nurse. Her dad works at a bank. Her parents encouraged her at a young age to pursue her passion of the arts and of writing and putting on skits and putting on plays. In fact, she would write skits and write plays and then hand out the scripts to her parents and assign roles to them, and they had to perform. Sounds like really good parents. She went on to get an English and philosophy degree from Barnard College, where she was a roommate at the time with Kate McKinnon of SNL fame, who also played Weird Barbie in the movie. We have a Weird Barbie in this house, too. This isn't one of them. I should have brought that one out. Here it is. Here's our Weird Barbie. Not quite like Kate McKinnon's weird, but a little weird. We had to cut her hair because she had a lot of goo in it. So toward the end of college and after college, she stumbled into the mumblecore movement. I told you, I'd tell you what that is if you don't know. It's these low budget, early 2000 films that were all about the same sort of topic. Young adults navigating life and love and identity, trying to find out who they are. Basically, it was a spotlight on people my age, so it's exactly my age, leaving college and trying to figure out how to become an adult. So apparently a lot of people like me were watching these films. I remember watching quite a few of them, thought they were cool. It was known for this like natural dialogue and awkward social interactions and a lot of improv. You know, it would be like, you guys are going to sit in the kitchen, you're going to argue about this topic, and at the end we want to get to this conclusion, go. And there's a lot of scripted stuff too, but it was a lot of straight to DVD type movies. Today it would be streaming. But the person who was crowned by critics and magazines as the it girl of mumblecore, I see why they did that. That rhymes. It girl of mumblecore was Greta Gerwig. She has this quality to her as an actor where she's very grounded, very like someone you would meet at a coffee shop, at the PTO meeting, but she still is a movie star, you know, like she's like the perfect version of, I don't want to say the girl next door because that's got a different connotation, the neighbor or the best friend, like someone who's really in your life. She brings that to the screen, and that's why she was amazing in these films. In 2007, she co-wrote and starred in Hannah Take the Stairs. In 2008, she co-directed and starred in Nights and Weekends. But then she moves over to mainstream acting, and who's the first person who casts her in a mainstream Hollywood film? Her now husband, Noah Baumbach. She broke in with Greenberg, that's the film with Ben Stiller. She went on to do 8 movies as an actor, including the animated film Isle of Dogs, To Rome with Love, that's the Woody Allen film, Jackie with Natalie Portman, No Strings Attached with Ashton Kutcher and Natalie Portman again. She also wrote and co-directed several films during that time. But then, 2017, Lady Bird, her first solo screenwriting and her solo directorial debut, and it was a tremendous movie. It's an autobiographical coming-of-age story about a young woman and her mother, so about her and her mother. She became the first woman nominated for Best Director at the Oscars in 8 years, and only the 5th ever at any time. Lady Bird was also nominated for Best Picture and Best Original Screenplay, and it won a Golden Globe for Best Comedy, a budget of $10 million, and it made $80 million. That's a lot of money for a movie like that. In 2019, she wrote and directed the adaptation of Louisa May Alcott's novel, Little Women. 6 Academy Award nominations for that one, including Best Picture and Best Adapted Screenplay. It grossed $218 million. And then in 2023, Barbie, she co-wrote that one with Baumbach. She became the first female director to lead a film beyond $1 billion. Wow. I just realized this saying it out loud, but every screenplay that she has written or co-written and then gone on to direct, that screenplay was nominated for an Academy Award. The true talent of Greta Gerwig as a screenwriter, and again, we don't want to leave Baumbach out of this one because he gets huge credit for Barbie. In fact, she gives him tons of credit. But when you look at her other screenplays, Lady Bird in particular, and also Little Women, the action lines are written in the voice of the characters that are driving the scene. It's something you don't see very often. You could see it when it's a character-driven screenplay and someone gets locked into that voice, locked into that tone. But she is constantly switching it depending on who's driving the scene. So what's next for Greta Gerwig? Netflix. Netflix paid high 9 figures for the rights to the Narnia franchise, and they're going to make some films and spend a ton of money, and she is going to write and direct those films. She is working on the first one now, which is going to start filming pretty soon. It's going to have a $200 million budget, and just announced this week that this is the first film that Netflix is going to put out in theaters for 2 weeks before it comes on Netflix. The rule is for a film to be nominated in award season, it has to have a theatrical release. But a theatrical release is defined as being in at least one theater and showing at least once a day for 7 days in a row. So this is what Netflix has been doing, picking a couple of theaters, giving it 7 showings and putting it on. I mean, they paid for it. It makes sense. They want it to be on their service mostly. But then that makes it eligible for award season. This one, though, they're going to put out in more theaters and for 2 weeks. And then they're going to pull it. And then on Christmas Day, 2026, you'll be watching it on Netflix for the first or second time. So how was Barbie developed?